Hey everyone, Nelson here from Priority Bicycles, and today I'm going to show you how to do a flat fix on your Priority 8.
Please note, we recommend that any repairs that are done on your bike be done by a professional mechanic. If you choose to follow this video and repair the bike yourself, we suggest taking it down to your local bike shop for a safety check afterwards.
Now let's take a look at the parts and the tools we'll need to do this flat fix. We'll need a 15mm wrench, a 5 and a 4mm Allen key, a set of tire levers, an inflation device, either a CO2 with a CO2 head, a small hand pump, or a floor pump, and an inner tube for the Priority 8. Now let's get ready to do your flat fix. If you're riding on the road and you get a flat, the first thing you want to do is move over to a nice safe spot away from traffic. Next, you'll want to put the bike in a way that it will be easy for you to work on. Not everyone's going to have a repair stand on the road. So what we can do here is flip the bicycle upside down or onto its side. First, if your kickstand is down, let's bring it back up and lean the bicycle onto its side with the belt facing upward. If you decide to place the bicycle with the seat and the handlebars on the ground, we'll do the same thing here where we lean the bike onto the side, but then we'll grab the fork and the C-tube to pick it up and flip it around. When doing so, make sure that you're not damaging anything on your handlebars, such as your brakes or your shifter. From here, we can remove the front wheel or the back wheel. For our video today, I'll show you how to do a flat fix on a repair stand. Now let's go over the proper steps in order to remove the front wheel. Using a 5mm Allen key, we're going to loosen the axle. No need to remove this part, just get it loose enough so that the wheel slides down. When removing the front wheel, make sure not to press the brake lever as it'll squeeze the brake pads closer and not allow you to install the wheel later on. Now let's go over the proper steps in order to remove the rear wheel. To do so, shift down to gear 8. With one hand, you'll want to grab this rubber boot here. Then with the other hand, you're going to place it on this little tab down here. With your finger on the tab, rotate it clockwise until it stops. Then grab that rubber boot, pull it straight out and downward. You should have the cable looking like this. Now let's grab the cable and bring it out and over from this plastic hook. Then bring the cable up to about a 12 o'clock position to remove the cable fixing bolt. Let's remove the wheel with a 15mm box wrench. We'll loosen one side first and then the opposite side. No need to remove the axle nuts, just get them loose enough in order to slide the wheel downward. Then, grab your belt and take it off of the rear sprocket. With the wheel off, let's first give a pass through the tire to see if there's anything sticking through it, such as a piece of glass, nail, or thorn. You'll want to start at the valve so you know where to stop. If you see something, make sure to remove it. And if you don't worry about it. We'll check the inside of the tire as well. Now let's remove the tire. Rotate the wheel so that you're opposite from the valve. Pinch the tire inward, like so. Grab your tire lever, and using the hook side of the lever, go inside of the tire, onto the bead, and then hook it off of the rim. You could then hook the tire lever onto the spoke, like so. This tire is pretty easy to remove, but if your tire is difficult to remove, you can use a second tire lever. For this, we'll want to go over 2 spokes, and then do the same thing where we pinch the tire, get the hook under the bead, and then off of the rim. From here, we can slide our tire lever all the way out and over. With the bead completely off of the rim, we can now go inside and grab the inner tube. When it comes time to remove the valve, we're going to grab the tire and bring it upward and then over, like so, then grab the inner tube to remove it. With your inner tube removed, let's go ahead and connect your pump to the valve. Let's inflate it till the tube gets bigger and easier to find anything that punctured through. If you're on the road, you'll of course want to use your mini hand pump. You'll want to pump this enough until you start hearing a hissing sound, which will show you the location of where the puncture is at. Then go around the whole inner tube until you hear and feel it. Once you located the puncture, let's go back to the wheel to see if we can find anything that punctured through the tire. Using the valve, we can line it up to the tire and the valve hole of the rim as our guide, and then we go back to where the hole was, which was roughly here, and inspect this area. You'll want to run your fingers inside of the tire to see if you feel anything puncturing through. Be careful while doing this, as we don't want to get our fingers cut. It's very possible that you may or may not find anything inside of the tire. If you do, make sure to remove it before installing your new inner tube. Now that we assessed what caused our flat, we can go ahead and either repair that inner tube or install a new inner tube. I always like to use a new inner tube. Grab your inner tube and inflate it so it has a little bit of definition to it, like so. Then we're going to follow those steps in reverse of how we remove the inner tube. We're going to pinch the tire, bring it up and over, exposing the valve hole, slide our valve into the hole, then making sure the tire goes over that area, sneak the inner tube inside of the tire. With the tube in the tire, we're going to pinch the bead into the rim and go ahead and bring the rest of the bead into the rim. The last section of your tire is always going to be the hardest to install. I like to make sure that this section here is opposite from my valve, and I'm going to use my palm to roll the tire bead onto the rim. It's important that we don't use tire levers here, as we risk puncturing the inner tube. You'll want to go back and forth between both sides until the tire is properly in the rim. From here, we'll want to give a pass through the rim to make sure that the tire bead is not pinching the inner tube. If you see your inner tube while doing this check, you'll want to repeat the previous step. Now let's inflate your tire to the max PSI. You can either use a floor pump, hand pump, or your CO2. To find out the max PSI of your tire, simply look on the sidewall of the tire to find something that says min and max PSI. This can either be on the left or the right side of the tire. On the stock tire of the Priority 8, the max PSI is 90. Grab your pump, connect it to your valve, and begin to inflate it. With the tire properly inflated, let's give one last check to make sure that the tire bead is not popping out from the rim, no bulges, and of course nothing puncturing through. Then grab your valve cap and install it onto the valve. Now let's install the rear wheel. In the event where you removed your axle nut and the no-turn washer came off, you'll want to place them back properly. The blue one should be going on the right side and the green on the left side. The tab on the no-turn washer should also be facing downward. With the no-turn washer and the axle nut properly on the wheel, let's go ahead and install it onto the bike. We'll of course want to make sure that the belt is properly on the front sprocket. And then on the back end, we're going to grab the belt to place it on the rear sprocket. Then we're going to slide the wheel up into the dropout. Make sure to properly guide the rotor inside of the caliper. Then grab your 15mm wrench to tighten your axle nuts. No need to lock these down, as we'll do it on the ground. Now let's reconnect our shift cable. We'll want to follow those steps that we did before in reverse. Grab our cable, then rotate the cassette joint and guide the shift cable nut into the cradle. And then place the cable underneath that hook. Then grab our rubber boot and place it on the cassette joint arm, like so. Then slowly let go of the cassette joint. Now let's install the front wheel. If your bicycle's on the ground, you can grab it by the stem to pick it up and slide the front wheel onto the bike. When doing this, we want to make sure that the rotor is on the left-hand side of the bike, and we're sliding it straight up. Then, using your 5mm Allen key, we're going to tighten the axle loosely as we'll snug it up on the ground. Whether you had your bicycle flipped upside down or on a repair stand, we'll want to do this last step on the ground. On the rear wheel, we'll use our 15mm wrench just to loosen those axle nuts again, just a little bit, both sides. I like to grab the wheel here at the 12 o'clock position and give it a little bit of a wiggle as I apply some pressure on the saddle downward to make sure that the axle properly interfaces with the dropout. From here, I'll go ahead and tighten down the axle nut. Make sure I get these nice and tight until the tool leaves an impression on my hand. Once that's done, I'll go ahead and make sure that my belt is properly tensioned and my brakes are running nice and smooth. To tighten down the front wheel, we'll use our 5mm Allen key. We'll first loosen the axle, then I like to grab it at that 12 o'clock position. Just give it a little wiggle to make sure that the axle properly interfaces with the dropout. Then, applying some pressure on the stem downward, I'm going to tighten down the axle. Make sure to get it tight enough, but not exceed 5 Nm. I hope this video helped you fix a flat on your Priority 8. Make sure that every bolt that you touch today is properly tightened down for your safety. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Our information's at the bottom of the screen.